Hi, I'm Glen Gilmore. For 8 years, I had the privilege of serving as mayor of a community of about 90,000 people. Today, I serve as an educator and also as a Microsoft brand ambassador. I'm very excited to have with us today Greg Wilson, who is the worldwide public sector chief technology officer for government at Microsoft. And he's going to help us understand this phrase, no code, low code, and help us understand the efficiencies and innovations it's bringing by allowing in-house talent that may have no coding skills or some coding skills to create new applications, new dashboards, and new services. Greg, welcome.
Glenn, delighted to be with you and to chat with you and for the invite. I think in terms of low code and no code, everybody tends to say the phrase together, low code, no code, but actually they're two separate things. And the way that we look at it is by having low code and no code, and even proper coding. So it's actually code, low code and no code. It's about how do we empower everybody, no matter what level of skills they've got, to turn bright ideas into some brilliant apps. And so actually, when you talk about a low code platform, we're seeing a platform that we have that generally requires some basic coding skills or knowledge. So that's supporting the apps dev community, app developers going forward. And they're really suitable for if they want to construct, programs quickly, or the businesses have maybe a complex back end. But actually separate to that is the no code capability. And as far as we're concerned, zero code knowledge is required for them. We take it on the no code app development. We make some great solutions with businesses, and you can use that non-technical in-house talent for pretty much developing web and mobile application products. And to help people along, Microsoft has some great tutorials on how anybody can, with no coding background, can pick it up. Because we often hear, I'm worried I don't have any coding skills, etc. What does that mean for me? Well, the products we're now seeing in the low code, and also with the introduction of AI technologies, is enabling anybody to take that forward, particularly in the government sector now.
This is really very exciting. And with what you've said, and you've said it rather emphatically, that when we say no code, it truly means an aspect of innovation that allows someone who doesn't have coding experience to think about the creation and customization of a application for enterprise or for government using a framework and using a knowledge base of tutorials that Microsoft provides. Can you give us a sense of how this is being used in the real world?
So we're seeing this particularly in governments, particularly in our Power Application Suite. So we have Power Business Intelligence, for example, where people are drawing insights from their data. So a collective data source, and they decide they want to create the dashboards. We're seeing it there. We're seeing it in the more where you do see the need for code in our Visual Studio products and how the developers go forward. And really, it's a bit of an alternative to traditional software development and how it's gone forward. And people can take these low-code solutions and no-code solutions and really reduce cost and time in making a really beneficial product to be in the business sector, or as the area I work in, into governments, be that working in a hospital, in a fire department, or public finance. We're seeing them bring in these capabilities and driving, insights that are for customer support, be that for their internal employees or facing outwards towards the citizens of a nation.
Great. Can you give us a sense of what the learning curve timeline would be? Meaning, for example, if someone in enterprise or someone in government said, we want to create this dashboard that's going to have customized information for us, how long does it take for the individual to take the tutorials and tap into the applications that make it happen?
We can have this, a video that takes about a couple of minutes that shows you some of the very basic dashboards. They're templates. You can walk and talk, step through. We can pick the things. You can change what you need to change on it. Now, those for the no code are restricted template type solutions, and you can veer and adjust accordingly. So that's really easy. It's just like how you would wish to lay out your technology and bring in your data sources. It doesn't take long at all. Obviously, there needs to be some understanding of how to actually work a mouse and a keyboard, but in terms of long term, people could pick it up very quickly. And if you wanted something for business, I've seen people do it in minutes to a couple of hours, depending on their base knowledge. And I do mean, and I go back to the point, zero coding knowledge is required. Obviously, when we're into low code, then we are expecting them to understand a bit more of the software, and therefore they would be able to create, using our tools, something is a bit more bespoke for the business going forward, as opposed to, what most people would just want to do is design a dashboard that has most of the standard features that we can provide.
And Greg, are we talking both outward-looking sort of applications for customers, for constituents, as well as internal-facing dashboards and applications?
Yeah, I totally. I think the great thing about this software is the imagination is there. You talked about innovation. How do they wish to innovate to solve the problems? Obviously, some work needs to be done to make sure the use case is right and how they're going to do it. The other advantage is obviously using it on Microsoft, we get the whole suite of our security infrastructure wrapped around what we're doing in the protection of data. So whilst there needs to be some governance and information worked through by the customer of how they wish to employ our technologies, we are seeing it in both interfacing into the public. That took off a lot in COVID, particularly where a lot of people went to hybrid and started doing those interfaces through. And we're seeing it being taken forward in local governments, anything from licenses for cars, etc., passport applications. People are designing and using some of these products going forward. And it's a mix sometimes of low and no code, but it depends on the situation as we go forward.
So when we're talking about the no code and low code, it really is for enterprises of all different sizes, government authorities of all different sizes. Would that be fair to say?
100%. And the products are designed to be supporting enterprises going forward, various data sources, how they wish to do it. And we have quite a few examples, as I said, in health and in public safety and justice and public finance, of where these sort of products have been used for solving internal problems and decision making within the business space and government space, but also looking outwards.
Greg, Microsoft is the recognized leader in generative AI. You can't have a conversation about technology today without talking about ChatGPT. When we think of the future of app development, no code, low code, how do you see generative AI, ChatGPT type technologies weaving into that space?
It's an awesome time, isn't it, to be part of the AI and everything that's going on, and particularly privileged to be in Microsoft going forward. Over time, when I look at what's happening in low code, no code, the short answer is the boom that we're seeing coming out of all our AI products, and particularly some of our co-pilot products that are augmenting our products, means that the impact is going to be everywhere. Mm-hmm. And there's no technology like it before, and this is really changing the game for people, and that's why so many people are adopting it as we go forward, because it augments human ability, and that's the key thing. It's helping people to think, to reason, learn, express ourselves, but also, for me, this is the knowledge revolution that's coming. We had the industry revolution. This is the knowledge revolution, and it's fundamental to everything, and it's building opportunities that will improve productivity of governments. It's going to stimulate economic growth if they begin to get their information in the right place. They get the insights they need. They get the analysis they can do. It improves the productivity and time as we go forward. And also for people, it's going to reduce some of the drudgery. Our co-pilot for PowerPoint, how many times have we all in our careers spent time trying to manipulate PowerPoint and work things through and sweating it across? We have tools that can take stuff that was taking 2 hours, can help you give a version to start within 5-6 minutes, if that. So I think it's going to help people be more creative, and that's going to change that for the commercial sector as well as the government as they go forward, and particularly with the large data sets, the massive data sets that we're seeing now, are going to drive advances in the medical sector. It's going to drive advances in research and development. I can see certainly for the government sector as we go forward. And also it's going to strengthen the cyber and national security sector as well. So for me, it's a really exciting time, in the era of computing, as we would call it in Microsoft, and how the natural language models drive forward, how we can begin to use the new software language, which is natural language, in my case, English, programming by English, in my case, and obviously different languages around the world, I think is going to make a big impact, and it's an exciting time.
And you've raised a key point, Greg, which is we're talking about the augmentation of human talent, and so it's a moment where we can all be much more creative. I was excited about the notion of no code, low code before we had our conversation, but you're really getting me even that much more excited to understand that it really is an opportunity for innovation for all of us to be much more creative across all sorts of verticals. Do you have any final thoughts, advice that you'd like to share with us on this important topic?
So I think, for governments, we're going to see innovation and programs experience. We're going to see government workforces empowered more. This is going to transform government operations and services and help government secure and protect resources as we go forward. For me, we're going to see millions of people synthesizing information in really powerful ways through things such as even search and Bing going forward. And the impact that this will have on governments is great. But I do add a sense of caution, and that is governments shouldn't be left behind. To unlock these capabilities and drive forward, that actually this is where the power of the cloud comes in, the Microsoft hyperscale cloud. When we are looking at that, if you want to use these technologies, the conversations we're having with government is, let's get your data onto the most trusted and secure cloud that we can do, and that's Microsoft's, to be able to exploit these tools, get the insights you need, and be competitive on a global scale.
And Greg, you've touched on really a topic that should be part of every conversation about AI, about technology in general, which is how do we ensure trust? How do we ensure security? And I'm glad to see that as we have gone through this topic, it brings it to really the most important point, which is to make sure that we have a notion of governance that allows us to innovate and to be excited with an understanding that it comes with responsibility. And so we're all becoming much more familiar with the phrase generative AI. We should become equally familiar with that phrase responsible AI, and you've just brought the two together. Greg, I thank you so much for your time, for your talent, and helping us understand what Microsoft is doing in this a very exciting space to help make government and business much more innovative and efficient. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Enjoyed the chat.